Yo, we are back here continuing our discussion on hormones. And I know I didn't get bad vision over these last few videos, but I did get some blue light glasses from my sister, so we're gonna take them off. No, I'm just kidding. We are gonna rock with them, baby. So here we go. And in this video, we're gonna discuss both growth hormone and the insulin-like growth factor, aka IGF. So GH and IGF, here we go. So the anterior pituitary gland does secrete. It is the secreting gland of growth hormone. And what does growth hormone do? So growth hormone targets the liver, as we're going to see, targets adipose and most of the body cells, especially osteoblasts and muscle cells. So first off, let's look at the liver here. So what growth hormone does to the liver, it increases glycogenolysis, increases gluconeogenesis, and decreases glycogenesis. So pretty much the blood glucose is increasing due to the increased glycogenolysis and increased gluconeogenesis. So that's what growth hormone does to the liver, but it also does promote the production and secretion of insulin-like growth factor. So those are the main things growth hormone does whenever it targets the liver. It increases production and secretion of IGF, or insulin-like growth factor. It increases glycogenolysis, increases gluconeogenesis, and then decreases the glycogenesis there. So that's the liver. Growth hormone also targets the adipose tissue. So what does it do there? Well, I'm going to tell you. So growth hormone, whenever it targets the adipose, it increases lipolysis, which is the breakdown of triglycerides into glycerol and fatty acids, and it decreases lipogenesis. So kind of the same forming and breaking down the olysis and genesis as we see with the liver, and glycogenesis and glycogenolysis, same thing, except with fat and adipose tissue. So growth hormone increases lipolysis, which is the breakdown of triglycerides into fatty acids and glycerol, and it decreases lipogenesis, which is obviously the formation of triglycerides from fatty acids and glycerol. So increases lipolysis, decreases lipogenesis, increases obviously production secretion of IGF, also increases glycogenolysis, and increases gluconeogenesis. So those are the main targets of the liver and the adipose. Now we're going to delve into most of the body cells, which the growth hormone, but that's what growth hormone affects. Also, most of the body cells, specifically osteoblasts and muscle cells. So what growth hormone does to the osteoblasts and muscle cells, it increases cellular uptake of amino acids, which leads to more protein being produced. Increased protein production leads obviously to muscles and bones growing bigger and bigger. So osteoblasts increased, and in general, growth hormone does just increase growth, also increases mitosis, therefore increasing growth. So the production or splitting of cells into more cells, that's growth. That's increased the number of cells in the body, and obviously the size of the cells too. So in general, obviously really does focus in on growth hormone does on osteoblasts and muscle cells, but it really does affect every cell in the body. So once again, with the osteoblasts and muscle cells, increased cellular uptake of amino acids, which leads to more protein. More protein production leads to larger or increased growth of bone and muscle. In general, is increased growth there. So just one time running back through, anterior pituitary gland secretes the growth hormone, targets the liver to increase production and secretion of IGF, increase glycogenolysis, increase gluconeogenesis, decrease glycogenesis. The adipose, growth hormone increases lipolysis, decreases lipogenesis, and for most of the body cells, specifically osteoblasts and muscle cells, increases that cellular uptake of amino acids, more proteins, more growth of muscles and bones, increased mitosis, increased growth. So in general, growth hormone, no shit, leads to increased growth. So pretty much everything is getting pulled whenever growth hormone is released, everything's getting pulled from the glycogen stores, the triglyceride stores. Is just breaking that down, putting nutrients into the blood because really, obviously, to grow, nutrients are needed and ATP is needed to produce things. So everything needs to move in the blood, all the nutrients. So these growth processes can be carried out. And the only difference between growth hormone and the insulin-like growth factor is IGF, insulin-like growth factor, does the same exact thing as everything growth hormone does. Same target, same everything, except two things. Obviously, IGF doesn't produce or doesn't increase the production and secretion of IGF. So IGF, unlike growth hormone, does not increase the production and secretion of IGF. And also, obviously, instead of being secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, IGF is secreted by the liver. So liver secretes IGF, and IGF does not increase the production and secretion of IGF. So those are the only two differences between IGF and growth hormone. Other than that, IGF does the same thing growth hormone does. So some factors that affect growth hormone are age is obviously a big factor. Younger folk do produce more growth hormone. Time of day. So at nighttime, we produce a lot more growth hormone than we do during the day. Then another factor that affects growth hormone and IGF is decreased blood glucose. So glucagon, as we already discussed in a video in the past over yonder there. I think you could see it maybe up on the wall there. But decreased blood glucose. Glucagon's mainly going to be the hormones created, but low blood glucose will also affect growth hormone and IGF because obviously it's pulling growth hormone and IGF pulls all the energy nutrients from the adipose or triglycerides more specifically and the glycogen there to help us have energy and nutrients to be able to grow. But blood glucose, low blood glucose, mainly going to affect the cause glucagon to be secreted, but it also will impact growth hormone and insulin-like growth factor. So to finish off this video, I want to touch on one more thing about about the hypothalamus. So until this point here, we know that the hypothalamus does produce hormones that are secreted by the posterior pituitary gland. But what it also does, more relative or relating to the anterior pituitary gland, the hypothalamus acts as a releasing and inhibiting hormone, so it regulates the production and secretion of anterior pituitary gland hormone. So it's kind of like, okay, yes, it can be secreted, or no, it can't. And an example of this actually is growth hormone inhibiting hormone and growth hormone releasing hormone. So you can really see what these substances secreted from the hypothalamus mean. But growth hormone inhibiting hormone is a hormone secreted by the hypothalamus that inhibits the secretion of growth hormone. So it blocks the secretion of growth hormone. And growth hormone releasing hormone obviously stimulates the production and secretion of growth hormone, ultimately from the anterior pituitary gland. But all the starting point, if we will, is that hypothalamus. It's like, okay, regulates production and secretion, either secrete the growth hormone inhibiting hormone or growth hormone releasing hormone, and then obviously the process is carried out how we just discussed. When the anterior pituitary gland secretes the growth hormone, targets the liver, adipose, most of the body cells, not spells, specifically osteoblasts and muscle cells. So growth hormone, that's not plural, but growth hormone and insulin-like growth factor, pretty damn cool hormones. And yeah, we're going to learn about more next video here.